For today, I decided that instead of waking up early, even though I did wake up around 5 o'clock, I ended up waking around 6:47 a.m. And I wanted to sleep for an extra 10 minutes, but that 10 minutes ended up pushing the time to around 7:40 a.m. in the morning. So eventually at 8:03, I woke up and then I ate some yogurt for breakfast and then I went with my mom to school right at the end. Although I do say that as we were driving, I pulled stressfully my things as cars were behind and as this was drop off. In Spanish, as I entered the building, a security guard playfully scared me as I entered the door. But in class, the teacher was asking for the Yagar preterite, and students didn't know. And I interjected saying to make sure to add a U with the teacher saying like yes and continuing on. And today's diary was preterite versus imperfect, the confusion with it. I then went to the teacher to get my two missing diaries and I got it done. And the teacher gave me free time since most of this time in class was AP testing and most students were gone. The two diaries I took a picture of, I did, but Gmail is pretty slow, so I had to do it through my phone and I was able to finish it out. Most of the time, the teacher was distracted with a test taker, and the TA was on her phone for most of the time, and it was relaxed. Although, right at the end, I did finish the preterite and imperfect right at that point. Good to know that there's also a girl in my class who also hosts school-wide events for drama and performances. So she made an announcement about 7 days ago, I believe. I don't remember, but it's all about that FNL show that's coming. It's similar to SNL. PE, I changed in the locker. I applied my daily sunscreen, and today we had roll call, and we did one lap right after, and I went with Yosef's group. We talked for about 10 minutes about stuff generally. They even asked me if the boy that they have is cute. I lost my tennis ball as I was moving throughout, and while Bruno was talking about something, especially there's this little fence that leads to a small hill downward. But there's an upper court, so there's a fence that guards the upper court from the further courts that are down. I ended up bouncing my tennis ball in such a way that the tennis ball went through the fence and it escaped. Here, I played basketball and I practiced hook shots for a bit until spectating Bruno's large basketball game. And I was tired, but eventually the bell rang and we had to go. For science, I heard that the teacher's assistant and the teacher started talking about old technology and how much times have changed since then as I entered class. Today's notes later on were about solutions, ideas, and the psychology behind climate change, and by the idea of Maslow's hierarchy and how people think. During class, the teacher said, usually it's older white women that talk of this when it comes to climate change. And for his I coincidentally stared at Darren and she said, "Why are you looking at me for?" And the teacher chuckled, even some people chuckled too. Earlier, he asked what and who protests. I answered Greta Thunberg. Video said that we don't deal with climate change until it affects us, that he showed us, and it was a journal for today. We have to name three things about each video, and there were two. And the idea that politics also blurs the line and it's turned into a catchphrase about which nominee can be better and appeal to the audience more. And someone asked, "What about hantavirus on that ship?" Someone else said that they destroy the ship with disinfectants, for example. And we have an assignment regarding how to make Earth a better place to live also. It's also another field assignment too that regards to the internet, and we also have that to do. That also applies directly toward our debate tomorrow. It talked about making solutions from easy solutions, normal solutions, and unique ideas. The teacher gave us 5 minutes. I started it, then I got free mostly during this time, and I finished mine barely on time as I filled three other sections and how it affected us and other negatives. And Salif and one other guy was not able to finish it out because we had to fill the first section in like 4 minutes. So we didn't finish. And the funny guy today also came in late and said something about Biscoff new flavor cookies. As for history, today was a daily bell ringer. I did mirrored science notes because it asked about trash and global waste. So, and for notes, we talked about population growth rates, difference in economies. And the teacher asked us, why don't females have babies earlier? Which can really depend. I rose my hand in humor because he said females only answer, but he actually picked on me, so I had to actually come up with an answer. So I said they want to be stable and have something to do before starting, get a college degree, for example, and also wait until they'll have stability. And I made this when I was like hesitating as I was making this answer because I didn't think he'd actually pick me. But he then asked, what age do most of us want to have babies? And guy said 35, 26, 24, and I'm not sure what the girl said. I wanted to say 80 years old for humor, but I still did not because I think that might be an overreach by me. And he mentioned the issues about early birth and why people shouldn't do it, and also the issue in less developed nations, and also malnutrition and affecting economies. We learned how innovation also sometimes clashes with preservation of the environment. And after this was free time, and I did the book search already, but yesterday night, as I saved files for the year, I did copy down those last sketch note pictures to storage, but also copy those and email it to my school email, and I sent today, I turned those sketch notes in for one last time. I got called in by my teacher to help me with the kid near me as he struggled to name certain continents such as Australia, India, Russia, though I gave him hints in terms of GDP. At the end, he used the restroom, but told the teacher that sometimes he struggles on this, so he was standing up as we talked, and the other guy was in the restroom, and kind of like a teacher's assistant at this point, kind of like a mini guy. And for lunch, I went with Devin's group today for lunch, and like social play tectonics, they brought me along with them with Lizzie and her BF. In the cafeteria, we talked for a bit, but it was mostly about anime. But I felt like this was the most fakest conversation that I've heard in years because the kid was very eccentric about anime, like the one that was in my history class. They all acted surprised, but I don't feel like the reactions were legitimate, for example. So it's just kind of like that, someone's interested and you want to share something about it. Later, I wanted to also talk to two random girls nearby who seemed interesting, but coincidentally enough, near that bench, there were also a bunch of rowdy boys there. So even if I was to sit, that would still cause a lot of, place tectonic problems, and a lot of, that group might think that I'm part of that boy group. Wish I did interact with them. But I left a what paper in the cafeteria as I left one. Eventually, Lizzie questioned me about the stairs that we both thought we were going to say something. I was going to say something to her. She was going to say something to me, but we are not going to say anything to each other. So it was just kind of confusing. The kid there also showed me his Minecraft username, which I also took a picture of. For English, I bet 25 cents today that students would be late, and Jaden was also late today. She was mostly chill as she was talking about others, and the other teacher also said to me, "You owe me 31 cents," and he's the money better, as we were all in the beginning of class, and another girl was late. She announced roll call today and announced that she has to hurry up for seniors and also get their grades done before they graduate earlier than us. And funny enough, she said, like, no earphones. And the boy said, he doesn't speak for the trees. And they made guttural sounds toward the teacher, so the teacher countered back, laughing also at the same time. The Would You Rather today was Fruit Loops or Lucky Charms, and the teacher announced today is Talent Day, so we shouldn't waste our time to get work done. And said that we have, and some said they have to come in to work early tomorrow for that gallery assignment that's missing today. And I think why so many students don't do work in this class is that it's very simple here. One simple assignment you have, some students push it to another day. Add another one, now there's a lot of missing stuff. Funny enough, I raised my hand since Canvas went under maintenance apparently, so I thought of telling the TA, but eventually she came to me and, as always, she said, "Shut up," or "Be quiet," to the other rowdy kids who were behind her. And when she saw it, her reaction was like, "What? Wait, I can't even be mad." And she showed it to the boy and girl near me, and the class erupted into even more noise, signaling the total loss of control over the class when the teacher eventually made calls to the office that it's not working. It's not working, and Canvas is offline today because of some cyber group called Shiny Hunters and what they did. I reported this exactly at 1:34 p.m. Pacific time, and I joked to the teacher that Canvas took its own talent date today. And I just realized that, yes, the hacker company Shiny Hunters exposed crucial data that is going to be sold off of to the dark web and the public web. And, today they're threatening to release all of it both today and also May 12th. The teacher said that Town Day has to be rescheduled and says that we shouldn't be celebrating procrastination as some students were congratulating and being happy. It is said that in structure refused negotiation with Shiny Hunter, so I gotta watch out on personal email since I've emailed my personal email before. And I have a feeling this hacker group probably got tipped off by someone in the company or like some agency, so to speak, like Palpatine to stage something for something bigger. So again, this could still be a random attack, as I say. Teacher said that her daughter at UCLA also has a message on her Canvas saying like Shiny Hunters has control of Canvas, give us our money. And I think this might be a manufacturing crisis, for example, and I speculate that this might be an insider job, though it is still speculative. The teacher later said and called on her phone about the issues and that the boys were also funny at this time too. One observation that I saw was 275 million users, and I wish I could all know all of them vaguely, but I'm geographically isolated. For math, the teacher announced that there will be no Canvas used today, and her app isn't even working today. And there appears to be a ghost phone, so she stopped using her projector and went classic mode with the board. We had issues with Delta Math and we couldn't log in, and it's only connected to Canvas, so she showed problems on the board that she had us copy. The fit guy was happy that we don't have Canvas, so the guy asked, "How many problems?" He said 15, and he said, "Shut up, Jaden." And I copied down those problems to do then later, and we get less work since we can't access Canvas, only 13 problems. And for the ones who do need them, and Samuel also complained about rounding today and argued that rounding should just be for AP classes. I even heard that AP juniors in Math 2 take an easier class than Math 3 because they were not able to repeat a class, and the teacher only showed 13 problems, and then we turn this in tomorrow, or if Delta Math works again, we do it there. Delta Math generates different problems, so these are pretty much specific. But thankfully, for most other assignments, I turned them in before Canvas went down. So that sketch notes, I turned that in during history. And funny enough, as I went home, I felt stressed because I wanted to get Jack in the Box, and so my mom said yes. But what stressed me the most is that instead of just being like a I get it, she gets it, and then we get food for each other, she has to order everybody chicken sandwiches and my sister's boyfriend sandwiches because she doesn't want to cook dinner, which is understandable. What stressed isn't the fast food, but the idea of so many bags, especially when I had special requests for food like no cheese, no mayonnaise, for example. And top that example with math homework and having to offload video scripts, it caught me right off guard. So after going to the restaurant and getting the other food that my mom missed, I decided that when I go home, I'm gonna go ahead and immediately take my food first, put it in my room, take my backpack, and then take the rest of the drinks. Funnily enough, I believe someone missed my Diet Coke, and I think someone took it, so I barged into my sister's room, even though they were having fun with their boyfriend. And like the son I am, I don't care what my sister does. Like, they can make it all they want, but if I can't find my Diet Coke, you better know that I'm gonna be colluding with an FBI investigator metaphorically, and I'm going to find that Diet Coke, whether it's spilled or alive. Though it is not very mannerisms of me in that metaphor. It's for me in the future when I get a girlfriend or end up having a boyfriend like that. I too gotta make sure that whatever parents of my girlfriend or boyfriend that have a son or a daughter and is very hungry, I'll make sure that they are full, they get what they want, toy or Jack in the Box, and make sure they don't bother no one else. Then I might do a cool poster for missing Diet Coke today because it's also pretty funny, and my sister called me out next time that I have the chance to do so.